This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, September 30th, 2019. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. After a horrendous Friday backup along Route 50 that stretched for more than 14 miles approaching the Bay Bridge, the Maryland Department of Transportation is changing what happens in the future. This is all due to the construction on the bridge. And now, when eastbound traffic backs up to Interstate 97, the department is going to hold all westbound traffic on the bridge for short periods of time to allow 3 lanes of traffic to head over to the eastern shore. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out, but the backups on Friday were so bad that the MTA actually waived tolls for a period of time, and the backups began in late morning on Friday and did not ease up until after 11 p.m. on Friday night. And actually starting today, it's probably going to get a little bit worse because the right lane of the westbound span will be closed 24/7 for the road work. Fingers crossed on this one. Boy, I hope somebody up there at the Department of Transportation knows what they're doing. On Friday night at about 8:30, the Anne Arundel County Police and Fire Department responded to the Annapolis Road and Burger Street in Odenton for a traffic collision. They found that a box truck had pulled out of a parking lot. A motorcyclist that was traveling on the road hit the box truck, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The motorcyclist has been identified as Ian Gregory Van Genderen, 23 of Odenton. The driver of the box truck has been identified as Kayla Nicole Joy, 21 of Odenton, and she was also found to be under the influence of alcohol, and subsequently she has been charged with manslaughter by motor vehicle, homicide by motor vehicle, as well as driving under the influence of alcohol. Just a few minutes before that accident over in Hanover, in the 1600 block of Deer Meadow Court, the police responded to an unknown disturbance. When they arrived there, they found that 3 individuals were suffering from stab wounds. 2 of the adult male victims were transported to shock trauma, and one, who is actually the suspect, was transported to the Baltimore-Washington Medical Center with injuries. That suspect has been identified as Matthew Kirchner, 32, of the 1600 block of Deer Meadow Court in Hanover, Maryland, and he has attempted murder charges pending as soon as he is released from the hospital. Following up on a story from back on September 19th, there was a man that was walking in an alley off of Hudson Street when he was approached by an unknown assailant who slashed his throat and stole some property from him. Well, police have been able to find out who did that, and he has been identified as DeAndre LaSalle Jones. He was arrested and charged by Anne Arundel County Police with attempted first-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, armed robbery, assault, as well as theft charges. And following up on a story from a couple of weeks ago, the Naval Academy has concluded their investigation into the rope that was found hanging in a construction zone, and that conclusion is that it was not a noose. According to Academy spokesperson Commander Alana Garris, the rope was not likely meant to be a noose given the circumstances, but the possibility could not be definitively ruled out. She did say that the rope resembled a common construction device used to hoist items, although it was not readily apparent why it was draped over the door. This incident was reported to the Naval Academy by Carl Snowden and the Caucus of African American Leaders, and in response to that, Snowden said that unless there is additional evidence, we will take the Academy at its word. October 1st, which is tomorrow, has a whole bunch of new laws coming on the books, and these are just some of the interesting ones as I went through about 16 pages of them. As far as smoking cigarettes, the minimum age for purchasing or selling tobacco products, which does include cigarettes, cigars, electronic smoking devices, vapes, any related paraphernalia, is moving from 18 to 21. If you're in the military and you've got an active military ID, you can still buy them at age 18. Kind of a bizarre one from the Department of Agriculture. The Secretary of Agriculture has given authority to execute a program to control and remove insects that, quote, pester and annoy only humans, unquote. The new law establishes a nuisance insect fund requiring counties and municipalities to pay 50% of the cost of treatment, and it receives $400,000 in funding from the annual state budget. Kind of bizarre. Online shopping will become a little bit more expensive for everybody because on October 1st, all online sellers will have to collect Maryland state sales tax and use taxes. So if you have a shopping list on Amazon, you better hit it up today because tomorrow it's going to cost you an extra 6% more. Sliding over into citizenship and immigration, unauthorized immigrants who are victims of crimes and are willing to help law enforcement now can apply for a certain type of legal status. The victims must submit to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services a certification from local law enforcement agencies, which are not currently required to complete the forms if the victim satisfies the criteria. They've expanded the electronic harassment laws a little bit. Now, a person who uses any electronic harassment with the intent of inducing a minor to commit suicide can now be imprisoned for up to 10 years and fined up to $10,000. Hate crimes, it's now illegal to threaten hate crimes, not just to commit them. Threats will be assessed the same misdemeanor penalty of a maximum of 3 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. And interestingly, but perhaps not interestingly, hate crimes rose nationwide by 17%, and in Maryland, they rose 35%. From 2016 to 2017, according to the FBI. This is one of those good-to-know things. The sale of a child has now been reclassified to be a felony offense. Under current Maryland Criminal Code, the trade, barter, or sale of a child for money or something of monetary value is a misdemeanor offense with penalties not to exceed a fine of up to $10,000 and 5 years incarceration. Seriously, Maryland, what the hell? Education schools are now required to incorporate interactive educational activities involving Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, who are two Maryland-born historical anti-slavery figures, into their Black History Month curriculum in February. This is kind of cool for elections. After completing the training and an oath, kids in grades 6 through 12 can provide assistance to election judges on Election Day at polling places through the PAGE program. Electronic scooters, or as I like to call them, urban litter, are now classified under the same category as bicyclists, and they do have the same rights and responsibilities as bicyclists on roadways. If you do not feel like disclosing whether you are male or female, you do now have the right to put a gender X on your driver's license in Maryland. And if you have been convicted of possessing a revoked, suspended, or canceled driver's license, you get a little bit of a break. You will no longer face incarceration. You'll be assessed fewer points. The penalties currently carry a 2-month sentence and 12 points, and now it will not be any incarceration, and the points will be reduced to 3. And if you travel Route 50 in a hybrid vehicle, this is kind of important. They have repealed the 2016 and 2018 laws that allowed qualified hybrid vehicles to operate in the HOV lanes without passengers. This is between Route 495 and Route 301. However, electric cars can still be operated without passengers. So if you have a hybrid, you've got to bring a passenger to get into that HOV lane. Some sort of interesting laws that are coming up. All right, that is about it for the top news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. Hang tight. We've got George Young standing by with your local DMV weather forecast, and he will be coming up in just a minute.
When a ring from the United States Naval Academy comes into Zachary's for a center stone, it always makes us wonder, where's this one going? Where's this one been? A nuclear sub in the North Atlantic? A carrier deck in the South Pacific? The moon? 52 astronauts are Academy graduates, from Iwo Jima to Okinawa, Corregidor to the Coral Sea, Midway to the Persian Gulf, Congress to the White House. These rings go where America goes. 73 that went to war were awarded the Medal of Honor. But wherever they go, wherever they may serve, our admiration goes with them.
Zachary's. Online at zacharysjewelers.com. More than a jewelry store, a jeweler.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, September 30th. After another warm weekend for the Annapolis region, today will feel great with highs only in the mid to upper 70s as we close out the month of September. But 80s will return tomorrow to kick off October, only to be followed by hot 90s on Wednesday across all of Anne Arundel County, before more upper 80s to maybe lower 90s on Thursday, which should mark the end of the heat for a while, if not the rest of the year, as a cold front will deliver some much-wanted fall-like temps with highs in the 70s Friday, followed by sunshine and upper 60s to only mid-70s for the weekend. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great day out there, and be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com, so you can always stay weather informed.
Have you ever been to the Annapolis Mall when it opens for the day? Maybe you've noticed the line of folks waiting to get into the Apple Store. As you may know, I'm a Mac user, and today's episode of the Daily News Brief, in fact, all of the episodes of the Daily News Brief have been produced right here on my Mac computer. What you might not know about is Macmedics. They were founded here in Annapolis in 1989, and they are an Apple-authorized premium service provider, the only one in the Baltimore-Annapolis, D.C. area. And what that means to you is that they repair all Apple devices, including the iPhone screens and batteries, all without an appointment. And most repairs are done the same day, usually within 2 hours. They also sell everything except the iPhone and the watch for the same price as Apple. I don't know why you would go anywhere else. Give them a call at 410-757-MACS, or if you're not into the whole letter thing, 410-757-6227. Stop by their retail store in Severna Park on Benfield Road, or their service center in Lanham, right off of Route 50. Or you can always check them out online at macmedics.com. I'll tell you, they've saved me quite a few times, and I know they can save you.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.